Hi, welcome to Truth with Tal Isaac. I'm Tal.
I'm Isaac.
Episode number 144 coming at you today. And fans, this is a big one.
Actually, this is a big
This
deal.
is a big deal.
We're back.
The Detroit Lions, 15-2, number one seed. We're going to talk about that. Chat a little bit about the upcoming NFL playoffs, some free Jimmy Butler, your Detroit Pistons, and college football championships.
Yeah, that was a big episode.
Big agenda.
So let's just get on here. So we can kind of go a lot with the off tops. Let's try to keep it concise.
Real quick, Detroit Red Wings, thank you for making a move.
Back.
They're back. They're now on a roll. The worst thing you can do is be irrelevant and gain apathy. Red Wings were there. Okay. Now they're not there.
That's enough. Enough big words. What else?
Aaron Rodgers couldn't happen to a worse human being. See you, Aaron. Bye-bye. You're done.
Yeah, keep it going. What else? Do you have anything else?
Pick up basketball. Good stories.
I actually wrote down pick up basketball. It's back.
It's back.
List of things that are back. Michigan Wolverines, football and basketball.
Yep.
Back. Movies. Back.
Detroit Red Wings.
Red Wings back. Pick up basketball back.
Back. Pickleball.
Pickleball back. John Pork back.
No. John Pork is dumb.
John Pork fully back.
Nope.
He's free.
Nope.
Do you have anything else off the top? I got a couple.
Nope.
John Pork is back. So Granny. So I visited with Granny today. Shout out Granny.
Hey, Granny.
So Granny likes to, this is really good, and you don't know where I'm going with this, but this is good. Granny likes to give us obscure books and articles.
Spotify.
Yeah, Shopify.
Shopify.
She gave me a Shopify article today. But like
I'll read it.
Books dating back to like the 40s. I saw a book today, 1941.
Okay, but there's been stuff that's given to us under 1941.
For sure. This was just like something that was like a cookbook from the 40s. Respect.
Yeah.
And she gives us this stuff, and I said, look, Granny, like I'll continue to take it on, but it's got to go both ways. So I showed her my socks. I had lion socks on. I said, you know what's on this sock? She paused and she said, a whale. I said, no, it's not a whale. It's a lion. Like the football team? Yes, like the football team. So our trade-off is she's going to listen to these.
Listen to these podcasts?
Yeah.
All right.
And because they're talking about the newspaper. She loves the newspaper. So I say, Granny, read the sports section of the newspaper. She says she usually skips that section. I think she's going to work it into the rotation a bit.
She should.
So Granny, welcome aboard Lions bandwagon. Yeah. You're welcome aboard. Bring all your friends.
She was a CFL fan in the early 50s.
Rough Riders.
So it's almost the same thing.
So I'm really
CFL early 50s, Lions 2024, 25.
So let's welcome Granny and all of her friends to Lions. Lions fandom. One pride. It takes more.
Auntie Pat, Uncle Larry.
Florida. So we just got back from Florida. Do you have any closing remarks on the trip?
Great trip.
Yeah, way to go. So that's it? You've got one adjective? Great trip.
Yeah,
great.
We do a lot of cool stuff, a lot of sports-related things. There's football on all the time. So
that's not our fault.
Alex and Daniela would be like, there's another game? Yeah, there's another game.
Yeah, there's another game.
Between college football and NFL, pretty much every day.
Yeah, it was when we weren't out doing something radical, there was a sport on or an obscure movie.
Played a lot of tennis.
The
baseball was a good little game.
And we played baseball. Movie real quick, Seven. Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. Re-released in theaters. Ma was still in Florida with me. Dad and sister were back, so Mom and I went and saw Seven. Just an awesome movie. Mom knows balls, so shout out Mom. And Seven, great movie. Really fun time.
I can watch that again. Kevin Spacey. Whew.
Fun time at the movies. So that's all I got. Listed back. We went through it. John Pork is back. That's all I got.
Detroit Lions. They're so good.
Yeah, right now.
Everybody loves them. They're on fire. Like they were cold for about 4 or 5 minutes after they lost to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Fair amount of the prognosticators thought that they were going to lose to Minnesota. We were not on that bandwagon. We're like, listen, whatever happens, the Lions were going to win on Sunday. We just knew that. There was too many signs pointing to the Lions. Yeah.
We were away for I was still in Florida and he was here. And we had to kind of keep our discourse going here with him and our buddies. And I texted them pretty manically at like 11 a.m. Lions are going to win today.
Yep.
And I was I was nervous and I was worried, but I was confident this team was going to get it done, and they did. So I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah. So we're going to spend 30 seconds talking about the game against the 49ers. It just showed a couple of things. The Lions' commitment to winning. It's just an attitude that they have permeated throughout the entire locker room, throughout the entire organization. They don't give up. They don't take plays off, and they win. They get their guys playing hard, special teams dudes who are now starting linebackers and starting defensive ends are playing hard. Purdy played pretty well, but then made a couple mistakes. We need to give shout out to a couple of people. Gibbs, Campbell, Branch, and then Kirby made those two big takeaways. Sorry, San Fran. They're done. Like next year, they're done.
We were so adamant that this was a year from hell for the Niners going into the year. And it was not just because we hated them, we wanted revenge. It was also that, but there was also a lot of red flags.
Yeah, I was scared of the Niners, but once all this stuff started to happen with Ayuk and
Who's the other one? Who's the big fella, the tackle?
Yeah, but bad stuff happened to him.
No, but also
Williams.
he held out as well.
Yes.
So you got two of their best players holding out. You've got this weird Purdy thing that is
Yeah,
like,
are they going to pay? Well, they have to pay him $50 million a year. Like, there's
correct. So you've
there's
got all
going
this
to be a
stuff.
discussion about it.
And Shanahan is not a leader of men. So I've also kind of cemented that point. People don't talk about the Trey Lance thing more. Like they kind of screwed that up like majorly. So I was out on the Niners, and we beat the zombie 49ers a little closer than I'd like, but don't matter. So
Still a W.
okay, now to talk about
so
something
much
else.
hype. A lot of people described this as the best regular season game ever.
So now you're building up the Minnesota game. You didn't say that.
No, we're done. We're done. San Fran, see ya. Bye-bye.
Buried.
Yeah, buried. Biggest regular season game ever. Only time two teams with 14 wins played in the regular season. Obviously, having a 17-game season mattered. But everybody's picking Minnesota. And we're like, no. Minnesota, top 5 offense, top 5 defense. One of the healthiest teams this year.
Also, top 1 coach, by the way. Okay,
No.
buddy. Coach of the year,
No
KOC.
way.
We're
We'll
going
talk
to do a
about
bit on
that
that.
after. You want to talk about that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Coach of the year. The Minnesota Kevin dude is O'Donnell.
Kevin O'Connell.
O'Connell?
He's a very fine coach.
He's a very fine coach. But how can you give Coach of the Year to the guy that got spanked twice by Ardain Campbell? Spanked once, spanked twice.
So
I'm a little fired up about this.
I know. There's just no need to raise your voice. Actually, not. There is a need to raise your voice.
There is a need to raise your voice.
We're the 1 seed, baby.
Yes.
Okay, so back to the thing. Kevin O'Connell. I like. He's a good coach. The fact that the win total was 6.5 and they're here competing for the 1 seed. Good on you, Minnesota. But Minnesota cannot play the Lions game. The go for fourth, the kind of like the aggro aggressive. They can't do that. And partially because it's not how they're built.
O'Connell kind of morphed into
So I said Ryan Day.
Day.
So just
Please explain.
Thanks for letting me, buddy. Real quick, Ohio State lost to Michigan this year because Ohio State tried to play Michigan's game. They tried to run the ball and dominate the line of scrimmage, be real physical. That's not how Ohio State's built, so they lost. Michigan beat them at that game. But Ryan Day, very prideful guy, proud, wanted to show that he could play this game of football.
Can win at any cost.
O'Connell
Anyway.
wanted to play the Lions way. Wanted to go for fourth down,
Play
wanted to gamble a
aggressive, go
bit.
for it on fourth down.
Throw it a lot, kind of on the goal line, do a lot of crazy stuff. That don't work when you got Sam Darnold, who I like. I like Sam Darnold. But like I'm not trusting him on the goal line all the times. When I'm running the ball at ease, I just run the ball. Or
And
I
they
just
were
kick
running
free.
the ball pretty well.
Or take field goals. So Kevin O'Connell got completely fraud checked. If he wins Coach of the Year, look, it doesn't matter. The Coach of the Year thing does not matter. It means nothing. When we're going to have a championship
If
ring
anything, it's motivation.
for us. Cause we
Yes,
don't get-
for us.
Yeah, whatever. So
I
Coach of the Year-
don't think Campbell wins Coach of the Year.
Do you think O'Connell will? That's fast. That's so funny.
I think he probably will. There was too much hype. A lot of guys had already decided what they're doing prior to
That's it. Yeah.
game 18.
Good point.
So they said, they were supposed to win 6.5 games. I think that the line, 7.5.
6.5, as I said earlier.
And
Yeah.
then they won 14. Boom. That's more than double. He's got to win Coach of the Year.
Not 15, though. That's us. Anything else? I'd send off Kevin O'Connell propaganda.
Agreed.
That guy's fraud checked. What else?
We just need to talk about the Lions' game plan against the Vikings. Blitzed hard and often was zero cover, or they used the two safeties and they bracketed their two receivers, right? Jefferson and
What's
Addison.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't do that noise again, please.
Yeah, that was a good one though. Made me think. So they have good safeties and they had good corners, and then they were kind of desperate. So they used Brian Branch as a corner, and then now's the time to talk about Robertson. Like, oh my gosh, what a great story.
What's the story? Real quick.
So he was left for trash. The Lions signed him like 2 years, $6.5 million or something along those lines, barely just above league minimum. And he was disrespected by the league, but he felt the love from the Lions and Dan Campbell, and he said, I'm taking Jefferson. I didn't know ahead of time that they actually played against each other in high school, played against each other in university, and then he gets to this game, and I guess they were talking a lot. Robertson held him down. Like, I think there was 7 targets, maybe 3 catches against probably the best receiver in the league.
So I would have actually, not that it matters. I would actually have Jefferson 2. It's hard to not give it to Chase at this point.
Chase 1, Jefferson 2.
But, like, doesn't really matter. It's an arbitrary argument. It means nothing. Jefferson's the man. And Amik Robertson, 5'8" of him. All 5'8" of him.
Is he 5'8"? Really?
He's 5'8".
Oh, man.
They've recently rounded up to 5'9", but, like, he measured in at the combine at 5'8". Like, it's fact.
He probably didn't grow in his 20s.
Jefferson, is 6'1", like a legit 6'1". Robertson just completely manned him up. It was unbelievable. It was so awesome. And then his line after was Amik, he got the game ball, and he goes, "You can't bury what came from the dirt," I think was the quote.
Yep.
Which is just top 5 hardest quote
awesome.
of the year.
Yeah.
Right? Like, early quote of the year.
And he said that with, like, a lot of emotion in his voice.
Yeah, he was, like, in tears.
Yeah.
Half the time, whoever gets game ball is in tears.
There's so many great stories, like Bates.
Don't talk. Okay.
My God.
The Bates thing has reached the Kershaw Stafford level of, we get it, announcers. We get Bates sold bricks. We get it. We understand Kershaw and Stafford played together.
But America loves those stories.
Okay.
And
here we go. Now it's
so
getting political.
Listen, everywhere you go, there are Detroit Lions fans. Everywhere.
Different topic.
Other than maybe Minnesota, Green Bay, and Chicago. So
Different topic. So back to so we did Robertson. I think we did enough on him. We just needed to stress that because that was my key takeaway coming out.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of guys we can talk about. We want to talk about Gibbs now?
I don't even want to talk about Gibbs too much. It was the Jahmyr Gibbs game. It's simple as that.
He's great. He
Simple.
just makes plays. Listen, the offensive line, especially in the second half, set him up for success. But then when he's even with the cornerback, who's generally the fastest person on the defense, and he just runs away from everybody else. So he turns an 11-yard play into a 26-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I don't, when we win the Super Bowl this year, I don't want this game to go forgotten. But let's remember it as the Jahmyr Gibbs game. And that's kind of how I'm going to look at this game because that's simply what it was.
I guess it put him on the map for America again, political.
Okay, enough America talk. Zadarius Smith, stud animal, love that guy. Made a couple big plays. Wasn't on the field too much, but made big plays.
Levi Onwuzurike, 7 quarterback pressures. Was that the number?
I wrote down 9. And I might have made that up.
It's a big number.
I think it was actually 9.
Okay.
So he probably the best game of his career.
He's going to get paid because of this game.
Let's talk about a couple other fellas. Some linebackers. Play gritty in the middle. Sneaky athletic. Yep. 2 fellas. Alex Anzalone and Jack Campbell.
Yeah, it shows how much of a difference it makes when your linebackers can cover the tight ends coming out of the middle or running backs, right? Buffalo killed us because their running backs coming
Flashbacks.
Out of the backfield.
Yeah.
With Campbell and Alex, Thor, Anzalone playing, that doesn't happen anymore.
Snap counts. So Anzalone, there's kind of some talk. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so there's
awesome.
I assumed he was on a snap count. Just because
so did I.
He broke his arm. So I figured that they would kind of ease him in. So Campbell played 65 of 65 defensive snaps. Dog. Anzalone played 64
of 65.
Played 98% of the snaps. That's
he probably had to go back in once to like fix his cast.
Yeah, his arm probably fell off and just like Winter Soldier, and he's back.
Yeah.
So Anzalone, I just got to shout out those two guys. The red zone defense. So
good.
I'm sure you got something on this. Go ahead.
So they got in Minnesota's head, and Minnesota decided, and I think part of it is they know Detroit's going to score touchdowns. They know Detroit's going to go for it on 4th down. Pushed Minnesota out of its comfort zone, which was actually Detroit's entire game plan. Pushed their offense out of their comfort zone, pushed their defense out of their comfort zone. Offense, pressure, blitz. And then they were just not set. They were not comfortable. There were 3 or 4 open spots where Darnold missed the receivers. Actually, Jefferson dropped a touchdown catch.
Yep, maybe if you wore less chains, he'd catch.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
When is that rule going to get changed?
No, it's fine. Because my guys aren't wearing chains. We're men of discipline.
It's
Amon
true.
Ra and Jameson. He's well disciplined now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They just messed up. They got nervous and they made plays. Sorry, they didn't execute the plays that were ready for them. And one of the things that Dan Campbell said this quote 2 years ago, he wants to run a lot of 4th down so that way his guys are not even nervous running 4th down. It's just another play for them. Yeah. So they're wired that way. They were built in the fires.
Ground up, baby.
Yeah. Minnesota, they don't have that game. And that's okay. They should have just kicked field goals or continued to run the ball.
No, they should have made this a 17-13 game. And they could have kind of just went in 12-10 and gritted it out. And just like that's how
win ugly. Yes.
Should have played it.
Like how we won in Green Bay.
But
in the rain.
Not all teams can win ugly, man.
Nope.
Especially dome frauds like the Vikings.
Yeah.
What else do you have?
The real Sam Darnold. I think it's important that we talk about Sam.
Okay.
Good quarterback. Everybody wrote him off as a backup guy. A David Blau, that kind of stuff. Youngblood over here actually thought he was going to be pretty decent, but nobody thought he was going to be this good. Pro Bowl good.
No.
But one of the things about Sam is he holds on to the ball too long to try and look at second read, third read, sometimes even fourth read. That doesn't work against a blitzing team. And they obviously didn't adjust to that. They just needed to hit hot reads, hot receivers, right? What's going to happen is if somebody's blitzing, linebackers are blitzing, Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, just do a quick 6-yard in.
Hawkinson,
boom,
fraud checked, by the way.
Yeah, Hawkinson did nothing.
Fraud checked.
Yeah.
Red zone defense, I know we talked about it. We just got to emphasize. Like, after the first stand, we were in a group chat, kind of a Lions propaganda group chat, and Wiz texted us and he said, legacy stand. And that was after the first of four stands.
Yep.
Right? So they had 4 trips, resulted in 3 points, I think. I see what you wrote down. Go ahead, talk about this.
So, trick plays. The Lions do more trick plays than anyone else. And they did one trick play this game. And their trick play was convincing Minnesota somehow that they were going to go for it on 4th and 2 instead of kicking the field goal to go up by 3 scores. Minnesota bid on that because they're like, we have no idea what this guy's going to do, but he's gone for it on 4th downs when he shouldn't have. So they were playing the run. They jumped offside.
You know who jumped?
That
thug, Harrison Smith, who's actually a thug, and I can call him that.
He's punk.
He's a thug. He's dirty. And Van Ginkel, nice pick 6, buddy. Oh, you dropped it. Sorry.
His 3-year-old kid was talking trash to him. Did you see that clip?
No, and I don't care about that.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
His son, probably also a war criminal, just like all the Vikings, except Sam Darnold and JJ.
The 4th down play was awesome. That's playing chess.
So that was, I like the playing chess line. So that was the trick play of the game. I only have 2 bad takeaways from the game.
Okay.
One of them is on us, and one of them's not. So Goff didn't have his best game.
Especially first half. First half was kind of poop.
But I'm going to spin it to positive real quick. He settled in. He found his guys. He made a couple big-time throws down the stretch. Hung in the pocket. That 4th down especially was huge to JMO on the crossing pattern. So he found it, but he just did enough, and that's what we needed.
Yes.
Now, the only other thing of bad. This is not Lions bad. Not really Vikings bad. A little. It's referee bad. And it's really rule bad. And I'm not going to do a lot on this because it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
shot
I think
clock.
Is it worth talking about?
Yeah, it's absolutely worth talking about.
So obviously I'm going with the delay game bit here. So it's an objective and quantitative rule, but it's somehow turned into a judgment call.
Yeah, objective turned to subjective, which is
exactly.
You don't, when you have rules.
That's some good, we just used some big words right here.
Big words. What happens?
Literally.
Defensive pass interference, which somehow the Lions have only been the benefit of one time this season.
Help me.
I'm going to say that again, one time this season. Karma's going to work that around. We're going to get back to us sometime in the next month.
Yeah, don't matter. Super.
So what happens is the clock hits 0 on not the shot clock.
Play clock.
The play clock. And then the back judge hits 0, and then looks up, and if they're starting the play, doesn't throw the flag. Well, when the clock hit 0, was it Wiz who said...
Blake,
nice job, Blake. Said, when the clock hits 0, just have a buzzer go off.
Yeah.
The play's done.
So Goldman...
So objective
you can keep,
gets back.
Yeah, said that. So Goldman, my buddy, fan of the show,
Jake.
Lions fan,
What about Chef Arn?
has a great solution. It's obviously the buzzer, but it's what Anzalone did. He said on one of the plays, as soon as you see 0, he just
jumped. Yes, he did that.
And enough guys are going to do that. People are going to see that. Guys are going to do it, and that's how.
It's the first time I've ever seen that, actually.
Yeah, so Anzalone is going to be an ambassador of the game, and you know what?
He already is.
He's an ambassador of the show too. But that's what guys are going to do.
Just get him on the show, Alex. We need you on the show, baby.
Guys are going to see.
Listen, we can wait till March.
Guys are going to see 0, and then they're just going to start hitting the line, and it's going to get all messy and chaotic, and then the rules are going to be not changed, just followed. You don't have to change the rule. You just follow what the actual rule is. Make it quantitative again. Make it objective. That's enough of that. All intents and purposes, this was a playoff game. Yes. So just from a Vikings standpoint, they're going to have to win on the road in LA, and their fans will travel, but it's still on the road. And then they're going to come back.
Minnesota fans are going to travel to LA only because LA doesn't hardly have any fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're going to have to come back to Detroit.
That's a tough trip.
In theory.
And they're playing Monday night, so they get an extra day. So they're playing the last game of the season. But here's the other thing. If they win on Monday night against the Rams, which is in doubt, they're going to have to come back on a short week to play the Lions.
So, in there, spit it out. So, we'll go through. I have no more else. I
just need to talk for a moment about the impact.
Spit the cough drop out into the water.
Oh, yeah. Cough drop goes in the water. I need to talk about the impact on a positive nature for Detroit, Windsor,
Here we go.
and all the fans all over the place. This is such a big
20
deal.
seconds.
Talk about uniting a region. Everybody's the Lions fan. We are all cheering for the Lions. Detroit and Windsor needed this. Thank you, Lions, for giving this to us. We appreciate you.
Okay.
Big drone show on Friday. The Lions drone show.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
So, for all intents and purposes, I said this was a playoff game. I wanted to just kind of emphasize that.
Shout out Godor and Christopher and the mayor for setting the drone thing up. That's cool.
Stop. Okay. So, like, I'm just going to try to talk and not cut that because it just talks about all the City Windsor employees. The bye is great for the guys to rest. But the home field advantage is much bigger.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. The home field advantage can't be overstated because we're going to be in Ford Field. So do you want to just have this conversation now or do you not even want to have it?
Let's have the conversation.
So we're going to the divisional round and we're going to the championship round.
We're going.
And I'm paying for your tickets and I don't really care if you're going to put up like last year you're all sus. I'm like, actually, I don't know. And so I'm like, buddy, we're just going. And I remember just like getting cash and putting it in a bag and saying like, here we go. This is enough for both of us.
We'll figure it out.
Like that's literally what I did. I just got a couple $100 and honestly not much more and put it in a plastic bag and said, we're going to Detroit. So we're going to do that again. And we'll make plans closer too. And you know what? I don't care who we play. I really don't. We'll talk about that with the wildcard preview, which I think we could do now.
Yeah, we
do
might
anything
as
else
well
on the Lions specifically?
Thank you, Detroit Lions.
Yeah, see y'all in Ford Field, man. We back.
Yeah, we back.
Okay, we up too. So wildcard weekend.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go to AFC first, and then we'll flip back to the NFC.
Sure. So first game,
Young Blood's doing AFC.
Super wildcard weekend, which I love that name. That's a real name. Nickelodeon game of the week is.
Oh, I don't like that blobby stuff.
Is Chargers Texans. Be sure to tune into the Nickelodeon stream because I heard Dora is one of the commentators. So I'll be there for that.
Dora the Explorer?
And Patrick the Star, too.
I'm not sure if our fans realized that one time at Halloween, Isaac dressed as Dora.
But there was a whole, first of all, I was like 2, so I couldn't choose.
You were like 6.
But I didn't choose. I remember, and you made Alex a dude, right?
Yeah, she was...
Diego.
Yeah, she was Diego and you were Dora.
Because I remember this, because it was Uncle Dan's birthday, shout out Uncle Dan, and we had to go as a character, who started with D or something, and they made little poor Isaac free him. They made me go and dress as Dora.
That's awesome.
So, and now I can say so many bad... I'm not going to. I'm glad that I didn't have to do that anymore. It's like you guys put me in gymnastics, and as soon as I could pick, I said, take me out of gymnastics, I want to play football.
No, but here's the funny thing. They actually said that Isaac should go in competitive gymnastics because he was a muscular, freaky little kid. So he's doing stuff that 5-year-olds couldn't do. And then they said, you should do that.
Yeah, that's enough 5-year-old gymnastic talk for me, buddy.
We said no. Put him in football and soccer.
And then I played football and started hitting fools and kicking balls and catching them, too. Chargers Texans. First game of the weekend. I lean Chargers. I'm pretty high on the Chargers.
For sure.
But everyone's fading the Texans, as we talked about. So,
CJ's got nobody to throw to. Plus, he has somehow forgotten how to throw.
It's just sophomore slump, hopefully.
I don't think that's a real thing.
I just said it. Also, Chargers, I'm just going to say this now. I was high on them 3 years ago, and then Staley came in and just buried the franchise, and Harbaugh resurrected them.
Yeah.
The Chargers, they're going to be in Super Bowls, plural. They're going to be in Super Bowls in the next 6-7 years. With this Harbaugh regime.
How old is Herbert?
He's young enough.
26, 27 maybe?
Probably 26. I'm just saying, maybe 27. All I'm saying is, maybe next year, Chargers soupy. Don't be shocked. I'm not saying they're winning. They're just going to be there. They're going to lose to the Lions. I lean Chargers. I think Chargers beat the Texans.
Agreed.
Next game, Steelers-Raisins. 10-point spread, which is
Listen,
a lot.
I've been calling Steelers fraud the entire year.
Okay, buddy.
I have no idea if they won so many games.
All of America, North America has called them frauds for 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So that's not too of a hot take. Look, I think 10 points is a lot of points for an AFC North game.
Over.
You're taking the Ravens cover?
Yep.
That's a stay away from me. I'll just watch and enjoy it. But Lamar in the playoffs, it's kind of a real narrative. Fun fact, Lamar has as many MVPs as playoff wins. Baffling, but it's true, too. Yeah, for real.
That's a good stat, actually.
Thank you.
He might get 3.
Bills-Broncos. Broncos at Bills. I just don't see how the Broncos team can score with the Bills. Very
Agreed.
simple. That's nothing crazy there. I just don't understand how the Ravens are favored by more points than the Bills are favored. I think the Bills should have a higher spread than the Ravens in those games. That's what I'm going to say.
That's an interesting
Thank
take.
you. Okay, so now there's the AFC games. Low-key kind of poverty, but I'll let you talk about the NFC.
NFC Super Wildcard Weekend. Vikings at Rams. McVay did an interesting thing. He just decided to rest all his guys and said, getting the week off for Stafford Cup. What's the other word? Puka Nakeo.
Yeah, it's close.
That's pretty close. That's more
I
important.
think that's classified as racism.
Than the win. They said, okay, boom, we're taking the rest. Now they're hosting the Minnesota Vikings, a 14-win team. But the Vikings have the Lions hangover. Matt Stafford is the man. We need to acknowledge that. Actually, I've got the Rams winning on a last-minute pass from Stafford to Cooper Kupp.
To who?
Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
Not Puka Nakeo.
So is that a touchdown?
Yeah, they win by 4.
Oh, wow. Okay. I lean Vikes. They're the better team. But the Lions hangover is a real thing.
I agree.
So I'll say that. What's your next game? What do you want to talk about?
Green Bay, Philly. So this is the Brazil rematch. Love is...
Send him back to Rio de Janeiro. That went well.
That went great. Love is too inconsistent. Plus he's dinged up. Watson's injured. Philly's playing better on D than they were last year. Even with a limited Hurts, I give the Eagles to win big games from Devontae Smith and Barkley. Take Philly plus 4.5.
Minus 4.5.
Minus 4.5, whatever. Oh, yeah, that's true. Minus 4.5.
So actually, I'll shout out. So I have a Packers buddy. So I'll shout out Farrow here.
You know the Packers?
No, I have a Packers friend.
Oh.
His name's Andrew Farrow. You know him. He works in finance.
Oh, I like Andrew. Good dude.
Yeah. He's a big Packers fan.
Sorry about that.
And I saw him today, and the first time I'm like, dude, how we feel in Philly? He's like, we're going to get smoked. We're going to get crushed.
Really?
He's so out on the team. Right now, he thinks the Eagles smoke him.
Just because of Love.
A bit of injuries.
The last little bit.
I think a bit of coaching.
Not having Alexander had made a difference. They would have beaten the Lions twice if Alexander was healthy. I'm not sure if you knew that.
Oh, that's the Packers. Yeah. Try Alexander's not even that good, but that's fine. Eagles implosion, like they're going to win, but like it's low-key happening. Can we say that?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Agreed.
Okay, what do you got?
Tampa, Washington. This is actually a tough pick. This is the toughest pick of the weekend for me. Tampa getting 3 points. I actually did look up the whole Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans blood feud.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't pronounce everything great there. That's a big deal. Like that. Did you look that up?
I know ball, so I know it.
Marshawn Lattimore?
Yeah, Lattimore's better.
Okay.
What about like what did you find
started in 2017, and they're like illegal hits and dirty stuff and almost fights on the field.
No, legit fights.
Yeah, so Lattimore is actually dropped down, so he's not still the guy anymore. Mike Evans somehow still
Did you hear he got 1,000 yards?
Everybody heard he got 1,000 yards.
Hall of Famer. Okay.
Quarterbacks make the difference here. Even though Daniels had a great rookie season, playoffs, it's different. Baker scares me. I don't like to say that because it's possible that we're going to play him sometime in the next month. But I got to go with Baker and Tampa Bay winning here in a close one.
Okay, I agree with you actually as well. I think the Bucs
Are we in
win.
agreement on all the picks that we've done?
Yeah, like they're pretty chalky. Like,
what did you do for
Vikings,
Rams?
I have Vikes. I lean
okay,
Vikes.
I have Rams.
But other than that, like Commanders Bucks is a complete toss-up. I actually wrote down Commanders +3. I don't think this is a +3. I think this should be like a pick'em or like a 1.5 spread. Like I don't think Bucks should get a field goal. So that's why I'll take the commies to cover.
Okay.
And then the Eagles I think will cover. I think the Chargers will probably cover. Bills -9. Like I don't love laying a lot of points in the playoffs, but whatever.
Buffalo's going to score a lot of points.
So back to if you have to pick an upset, and let's say that because the Rams it's so close, it's almost to pick them. If you have to pick an upset, either the Packers, the Commanders, the Steelers, the Texans, or the Broncos, what would your one upset be?
Wow, that's a really tough. Can you go through that one more time, please?
So I'll give you. Actually, let's take out the Commanders. Take out the Commanders and the Rams because those are two.
Those are two almost pick'ems.
Packers at Philly, Denver at Buffalo, Pittsburgh at Baltimore, Chargers at. Oh no, sorry, Texans home for Chargers.
Actually, I think Green Bay. If I had to pick an upset, I think I'd go Green Bay.
That's what I would say too. And then I talked to the Green Bay fan who wants to sell the team or buy the team because it's publicly traded.
Buy it from his neighbor.
I honestly would probably say, I kind of want to say Pittsburgh, just because like it's the AFC North and I have no idea what'll happen. You know what I mean? Like those games are going to be not. Those games are always
again,
weird.
you mentioned it. The
Baltimore.
nervous LeVar thing is a real thing.
It's Lamar, man.
Lamar, sorry.
You got to know. You can't call him LeVar, dude.
Sorry, LeVar Harrington was a really good linebacker.
LeVar is the dad of Lonzo and Mello and the rapper LiAngelo. Did you hear LiAngelo Ball's new rap song?
I did not.
It's a really. I'll play it for you. It's really good.
I'm sure it's not good.
That's all I got on Wildcard Weekend. Ready for football. Ready for the Nickelodeon Chargers-Texans game.
Okay, let's talk about the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Pistons are back, right? This is what they did.
Go through the back list again.
The back list?
Yeah, like what else is back? Wolverines.
Pickleball. Wolverines.
John Pork.
John Pork, not back. Not back at all. Red Wings, back.
Yeah.
Pulled pork, back.
Yeah, we had pulled pork tonight.
Yeah,
no
pulled
relation
pork.
to John. Really good.
No.
Pistons, go ahead.
They surrounded Cade with shooters and athletes. Right? Starters, mostly they're running shooters out there. Tobias, Beasley, Hardaway, who hasn't been really good but had a good game last night. A little bit of Simone Fontecchio for a little bit of Italian content. Shooters. And then dog defenders, Beef Stew, Ron Holland, Asor Thompson. I love that clip that you sent me where Beef Stew, when he gets switches on the guards, people think, oh, they have an advantage. And Cade spent like 17 seconds clapping, cheering for Beef Stew. This is what we want. This is what we want. And Beef locked him up.
Because Stu grades as like one of the best center on guard defenders in basketball.
Yeah.
Year in, year out.
Yeah. So it's too bad that Ivy got injured because he really has taken a step up and has helped
R.I.P.
Cade and the team on just about every front. Scoring, rebounding, defense, assists. Listen, I got to be honest and say I still don't think the Pistons make the playoffs.
Oh, we're making the offs. Yeah, book it, buddy.
They may make 9 or 10, but I don't think they're making the playoffs.
If they have a play-in game in Detroit, that would feed me. That would mean no
play-in game in Detroit.
Yeah, right.
So if they're 10, they don't get one. If they're 9, they get one. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
That would
but
be
if they
kinda
just
fun.
if they get seven, because it's 8 goes to 7 and then 10 goes. No, if they get 9, if they're 9, they get a play-in game because 10 goes to 9, right?
Yeah.
And then they go on the road to beat the loser of 7-8, right? Look, I think the Pistons are back, and the key takeaway here is Cade. We're not going to talk too much about him, but very, very simply.
He's an all-star. He's a top 15 player in the league now.
So that's a very high number.
I know, I've heard 20, but I did the math on the weekend, actually, when I was looking at Piston stuff and who's going to be on the all-star team. I think he's touching 15. Like, he might be 16 or 17, but he's right there.
So I rock with it. So honestly, for the past couple of years when the Pistons sucked, we were always like the Pistons are terrible, and we recognize that. But we're like, Cade is the guy.
Cade had nobody to pass to. Teams now know they have to guard Cade. They have to double him. They try and need to get the ball out of his hands. Often they are unsuccessful because he'll just split the double team and somehow make his way to the rack, shoot a little baby hook from either side, stand up for a 3. Like, he's great.
So back to what I was trying to say. Everyone counted Cade out. Like, every non-Pistons fan kind of said, like, Pistons suck, Cade must not be good.
Yeah, Scotty Barnes has stopped the conversation about Scotty being better than Cade. Urban Paul,
Sorry.
Listen, love you, my brother. I've got a little bit of Urban Paul pin. If you are on video, you need to zoom in on the pin that I have on my chest. It's Urban Paul.
Yeah.
That's good content, eh?
Yeah.
Scotty's not better than Cade. Mobley, not better than Cade, although Mobley's played well.
So everyone was like, Pistons suck, Cade's not that good. And we were like, guys, we watching the game.
You can borrow the pin if you like.
Thank you. We're watching the games. Cade is the man. He's going to be an all-star. And I'm like, he's going to get a couple all-NBA teams. It might not be in Detroit. I remember saying that. I'm like, it might be with, a different team, but he's going to be the guy. There was a stretch where I was down on the Pistons and I wanted
They're
Cade
500 right now.
for the first time since New Year's of 2019. I mean, right?
First time they have, in January 2019.
So
5 years, that's a long time.
So
Is that
Cade,
Blake Griffin days? That's Blake Griffin's last season.
So Cade's back. Pistons are back. I will. Do you have any more on the Pistons? Like, we don't need to talk too much. I have a quick little tidbit, but
No, they're fun.
So on the flight back from Florida, it was during a Pistons game, and quite a big game. And I befriended the big fella next to me. So
Middle seat, you have no choice but to befriend.
Middle seat, it's tough sledding.
Middle seat next to a dude who's 280.
Okay, hopefully he doesn't listen.
He probably doesn't.
So, I don't know. He knows ball. Ball knowers listen. Anyways, he's watched the game like, man, like, do you mind if we watch? Yeah. So we watched an hour together. We made friends.
Then the guys in front of you.
Guys in front were watching the game. We're giving fist pumps. We're shooting 3-pointer guns across the plane. Maybe shouldn't have done that.
Shouldn't have done that.
Yelling bang after a couple big
Should not have done that.
Like, we're screaming because this is a big game. So we all we're giving fist pumps and just doing all sorts of 3-point arrows and guns. Great vibes, great energy on the flight home from Florida. And go Pistons, man. It's great watching ball. I'm glad they're good. Gonna go to a game soon.
Again, the Lions' energy has helped all the other sports teams.
For sure.
Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings.
Let's say the Jared Goff chance I don't love in critical crunch time possessions for the Pistons on offense. But that's, is that too much?
I would take that energy that has been transformed to the other teams and say, okay, I'm good with that.
Okay, fair. Do you have anything else on the Pistons?
Do not.
Okay, so we still have
We're
some
going to
time.
talk about Jimmy.
I'll let you build it up.
So, Jimmy is essentially Isaac's alter ego, his favorite player. He loves him. He idolizes him.
Don't idolize.
He tries. He idolizes
Yeah,
him
a little bit.
He tries to take some of Jimmy's grit and use that to himself in his game. All around player, can play D, can play from can shoot from all three levels. He's a good assist guy. He can board.
Thank you.
Jimmy has been a dog in Miami, but I think it's a time to acknowledge that he has played a role in what has led to a bad situation in Miami.
It's not his fault.
He needs to take some responsibility. Pat Riley's a dick. We know that. We do have to talk about it.
Yeah, but we're not having an old head conservative take trashing Jimmy. Okay, I'm having a progressive young player
Sure.
here talking about Jimmy, and let's free him. Do you have any nice things, or are you just going to slander him?
Oh, I think. Well, we need to talk about how this is Pat Riley's MO.
Thank
He
you.
doesn't have loyalty at all. He doesn't reward his guys. Shaq, see you later. LeBron, see you later. Now LeBron was a little bit of a bitch because he didn't like all the accolades that Dwayne Wade got. But Pat Riley, this is his history.
Yeah, Wade, it ended badly, and then they rekindled.
Yeah. In the last 3 years, Jimmy has said, get some help, get some help, get some help. Because they really haven't had much help. Bam is okay. He's a pretty good defensive guy. But if he's your number 3, that's not very good.
He's been their number 2 mostly.
Yeah, Tyler Hero wasn't very good until this year. And he picked on defense. I don't know if he's still picked on defense. Mm-hmm. Is he?
Yeah.
And then you've got guys, Highsmith, the corpse of Kyle Lowry. Right? Like guys who are G League dudes who are starting in the playoffs.
In the finals.
Yes.
Myers Leonard was starting finals games.
Yeah, and I think I've seen Myers Leonard play Monday night at Massey with us.
That's good. So I'll go in on Jimmy and down this a bit here. You kind of he carried 2 teams to the finals.
Yes.
2 of the worst finals teams in the history of basketball.
Ever.
And you could even look at in broader sports landscape, but for sure in the NBA. So, including one of the hardest final spurts in the history of sports when they were the 8 seed last year, and they went through the 1 seed Bucks, and they went through the Celts. They were like a $1 billion to 1 dog to make the finals.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
So Jimmy showed up on the biggest stage time and time again, and he is regarded as the second most appreciated Heat player in the history of the franchise.
Agreed.
And and you guys are like, oh, you're radical.
D Wade's number 1.
Yeah.
But then who else? Shaq wasn't there long enough.
No, they don't love Shaq.
And he didn't leave on good terms. Alonzo Mourning was
They love
tough.
Zoe.
But again, he wasn't there long enough. And partly they love Zoe because he's still there and he's backing Pat Riley because I think Pat Riley slobbers when he talks.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is the Heat. So I'm pretty in touch with Heat fans through Twitter, through fan accounts, because Jimmy's my guy. I followed him. The Heat fans are devastated. Jimmy, they love Jimmy. They really did because he kind of dragged this franchise out of the mud because they were in a really dry spout. This is 2018.
Get me Dame Lillard. Get me Dame.
Okay, so I think that's not at all what I was talking about now. Jimmy, the Heat were in Big 3 purgatory, is what I'm calling it, after the Big 3 left, and they were just kind of like Hassan Whiteside, Justice Winslow, a bad era, old man Dwayne for their year, bad basketball. And Jimmy came in and saved the franchise, brought them to 2 finals. And you guys are like, oh, you're overreacting, he wasn't that good. Can I just remind you of a couple performances that he put on?
Please do, especially that Game 7,
Oh, I've got all the
47, 17, and yeah.
So, you guys are like, oh, you're overreacting. He's not the second biggest Heat adored. No, he is. The Heat fans love him. And statistically speaking, he was the man. Statistically, you could say he's the greatest Heat playoff performer ever. Really? Yeah, really. More than LeBron. He did this more. He has more big playoff games than LeBron does. LeBron's got that one on the road against Boston, but Jimmy's got some too. So I'm gonna go in real quickly. You guys might forget. 2023 first round. Can I take you back to the Bucks? Game 4 in Milwaukee. In Miami. He goes for 56 points on 19 of 28 shooting with 1 turnover.
That's awesome.
Think about that. Wall guarding Drew, and then down the stretch was the primary Giannis defender. Yeah, he did that.
That's right.
Okay. Another one, 2022 at Celtics. Game 6, win or go home. 47, 9, 8, and 4 in the Garden. Very reminiscent of what LeBron did, I think, in 12 when he did that. Another one, the finals. Bubble. Remember it? It happened. 40, 11, 13, 14 of 20 shooting.
That's your screensaver where he's just exhausted at the end of the game.
Yep.
Put in the bench. There's nobody there.
2 finals games, 35-12, 35-12, 11, 5 in a winner-go-home finals game as well.
While injured.
All these games he's injured. The finals against the Lakers, he played all but 49 and 55 seconds in those 2 games respectively, right? So he's going for these 40-point trip dubs and not sitting and being efficient and being a primary defender on defense. Unbelievable stuff. So he kind of like, hey, like maybe we should get some help. Everyone in the East got like dramatically better to like colossally better. The Celtics turned into a juggernaut in the past 3 years because that's what they are now. Shout out Uncle Phil and Colin. They are. The Bucks, they got Holiday, they got a ring. And then when that wasn't working, they made a splash. They tried something. They got Dame. Has it worked out? No. But they tried something.
And it might still work out.
It might still. The Knicks, they turned around their team like twice in the past 4 years and have improved at every level. The Sixers, they made attempts to improve, right? Like everyone was high on the Sixers this year. It didn't work. But they went and got PG and all the casuals said they were going to be good. I think they're the 4th best odds to win the ring this year. 5th best, maybe. The Heat stayed put. They didn't surround him with anybody, like you said. Undrafted free agents, Kevin Love off the couch, who I love. No attempts to improve. And then they didn't want to pay Jimmy. You can't do both. You got to do one of them. I'll let you. You want to jump in?
I just think Miami, for some reason, didn't add. And I don't know. There seemed to be a lot of opportunities. There's always lots of rumors about who they're going to add.
Kevin Durant.
Add. They had assets.
Giannis.
KD was out there. Giannis was out there. Dame Lillard was out there. But it just never seemed to happen. And I don't have a good reason why. Because I think the organization is comfortable spending. Right? They've got a good TV contract.
Owner is cheap. Owner is cheap.
Is the owner cheap?
Owner is cheap. But like they'll go on. Like if there's a big player, they'll spend the money and they'll get a guy. They're just not going to give good shirts at playoff games, from what Heat fans tell me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool place to watch a game, actually.
It is a very cool place.
Yeah.
Back to Jimmy, please.
I think it's important that we acknowledge that he left Chicago, Minnesota, and Philly all on bad terms. I know this is sensitive, and I know...
No, it's fair.
We don't want to talk about this.
He was in the right every time.
Yeah. Now, Chicago, they didn't want to pay him. They should have. Minnesota was just not a culture of trying hard at all. I get that.
Well, so real quick. Chicago, he kind of turned into the guy in Chicago, and it didn't... And Tibbs kind of... And it didn't work right. And it was just like time.
Tibbs rubs everybody the wrong way. After
he spent like 8 years in Chicago. The relationship wore down. Minnesota, he called Towns, Wiggins, and Levine soft. Fair to say that has held up the past few years.
That's held up well.
Right? Philly, he called Ben Simmons soft and called Embiid. He's in boys.
And they chose
Tobias Harris,
Simmons, and Tobias over Jimmy.
Correct.
I don't think that's worked out well.
So you look at every stop. It's like, has it ended ugly? Yes, you're right. I'll give you that. But like, it's kind of warranted and it's held up well.
Yeah, listen,
in Miami,
sometimes you don't like that person who's abrasive and who's aggressive, but oftentimes that person says the truth, says the right thing. So you kind of acknowledge, yeah, he was kind of a dick about it, but he was right.
Yeah, Pat Riley is a moron and he needs to be impeached before the Heat fans storm the arena. Okay?
Ooh.
Yep.
Talk about political.
Yeah, that's a little allusion there.
Good thing it's January 7th and not the 6th.
Shout out to 7th.
As Braden would say, book January 6th off and
well,
just make HR think about it.
Well, Braden's birthday, January 6th, so that's...
Oh, hey, happy birthday, B.
That was yesterday.
Nice.
Fine. Free Jimmy. I don't really care. I just want him out. I'd love him in Detroit. I know it never happened.
Not going to happen.
But Golden State would feed me. Dallas would feed me. Houston
Detroit
would feed
has
me.
lots of cap space, so stuff could still happen over the next few weeks.
Give me Jimmy. Oh, my God.
That would
Jimmy
be hilarious.
I don't even want to talk about it because it'd just be like, I would just go nuts.
Put Jimmy on the team and suddenly, woo.
I'd become a season ticket holder. I'd be actually a season ticket holder. It'd just be a full-time job. It'd be like, what do you do? You in school? Do you work? No, I go to Lions and Pistons games. Is what I do.
I'm a super fan. I get on the big screen a lot.
Yeah. Do you ever see the big screen? I'm on it sometimes.
Yeah. Meat stick.
Yeah.
Protein bar, apple. That's me.
So that's all I got on Jimmy.
College football we're going to talk about.
I'll let you go real quick.
So college football's tried so hard to get a 12-game or 12-team playoff. They got it. This is the first year. Are there some bumps and bruises in the selection process? Yes. There's been 8 playoff games so far. 7 of them have been terrible. Like there was only one close game, and it really probably didn't deserve to be close. Texas kind of pooped a little bit, and ASU stepped up. Good thing, because they're focusing a lot on that one close game. So now we're tied to Notre Dame and Penn State, Ohio State, and Texas. Am I right?
Yep, good work.
Okay. I just don't seem to have any great teams here. Ohio State is a really talented, they're a very good team. But nobody else, and I've talked to you about it. Why doesn't Texas, why doesn't Georgia? They just don't seem to have a lot of talented players on offense. And I know it's a bit of a down year offensively for players, other than a handful of them. But there just didn't really seem to be weapons. The Scattaboo guy, like he's pretty good, but he certainly shouldn't be in the conversation of the best offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
He's nothing in the NFL.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah, go ahead. People aren't going to like this, but
No,
ahead.
he's not going to like this because everybody loves him because he's a gritty, tough guy and he throws up profusely, but then goes back in the game. Was that the quote?
Yeah.
Something along
Well, he
those
left.
lines.
I'm watching the game, and he stepped out for a minute, and it cuts to Scatabo on the bench, kind of looking weird, and the announcer unironically goes like, Scatabo throwing up profusely on the bench, and I just start laughing. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
No, look, it's a lot of poverty games, but I'm a chill guy. I'm a simple man. More football makes
We
me
watched
happy.
a lot. Listen, let's be really clear. Even though the games weren't very good, we watched a whole lot of them.
Yeah, so there's fixes to this, obviously. We don't really need to get into it now. They'll
I think
figure
we
it out.
need to talk about Ohio State. Their bounce back.
How we beat them 4 years in a
How
row.
we beat them like a drum, and they finally realized, maybe we should throw to our NFL quality wide receivers. And since they started that, nobody's been able to touch them.
It's also, so Ryan Williams is the man, right? Is that? Oh no, Jeremiah Smith. Sorry, Ryan
Jeremiah
Williams is the man.
Smith, yeah.
So Jeremiah Smith, going into the Oregon game, I was kind of like, they're gonna get Smith going. He's talking a lot of
Oh, he
crap.
was talking a lot, and boy, did he back it up.
So I remember betting. I bet on Smith. I had my bookies back home bet on Smith, and he hit his marks within 2 minutes. So I'm like, yes, I'm good. Ohio State, they are fun to watch. They are really good. Like I said, we beat them like a drum.
So if you had to take the other three teams or Ohio State to win it all, who you got?
I would take the field.
I'm taking Ohio State.
What are the
I
odds?
know that's not good odds, but they're just so much better than
There's going to be an upset.
everybody else.
Something has to happen. If it's just chalk.
And listen, I don't like Ohio State because they're criminals.
Actually.
Yeah, actually, but it's actually nice to have the Big Ten with back-to-back champions.
Yeah. I don't really care about the whole Big Ten champions. I know you do, and the old heads like talking about the conferences.
Yeah, old heads like to talk.
My
about
brain doesn't really comprehend. Like, how is it the Big Ten if you've got like teams from California in it? Like, it just doesn't.
It's not right. You've
And-
got
and there's not even
Rutgers
10
in New
teams?
Jersey, and you got USC in California. That's a road trip.
I like both favorites this
Who
weekend.
was the guy that was talking about how
What?
the SEC finally knows what it's like to get a little bit of parity because all the other teams get to pay their players, but just was it McAfee or
No,
something?
it's Shane Gillis.
Oh, Shane Gillis, that was hilarious.
Basically, this was like a month ago, but he made fun of Saban to his face and said he cheated.
Oh, Saban was pissed off.
He called Saban Alabama Jones.
Whoa, he was pissed off.
I don't know what that means. But anyways, this was a month ago. We don't need to talk about that. I like football.
a good take.
I'll watch all the games. I want an upset, but I do like Notre Dame. I really like Marcus Freeman. And
Oh,
Notre
yeah.
Dame.
Hey, Jeremy McRae, I
Yeah.
hope Notre Dame wins for you. I know this is your life.
Shout out Rudy.
Good for you, Rudy.
Yeah.
I have Notre Dame over Penn State, but then I have Ohio State stomping on Texas and the Buckeyes beating the Irish in the finals.
That'd be cool. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
I just want a
The
good
game's
game.
not until the last game's not until the 20th, so we'll probably record another episode prior to that
Okay.
because we have to do predictions after this wildcard weekend.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. Let's just
Fans, you want to hear from stuff? You want to hear us talk about stuff? Please just let us know.
talk
We're here
about the
for it.
lines a little, just like 10 seconds to wrap up on the lines.
Detroit and Windsor thanks you for the love, the passion, and all the good feelings that you've given us. Thank you.
Go Lions. We're
Go
back.
Lions.